getting cut. Is there an end to that? Is there some minimum level of protection you think people should have? What would you do about this problem? And this one would be yours to start.
Well, first of all, you know, healthcare is a big problem we have right now. But bigger than that is the fraud that is taking place at the national level, and that's something that hasn't been addressed. I believe that if you work for your life, you deserve some type of coverage from the government. Let's face it, you know, I mean, Social Security didn't came about to the time of the Great Depression. FDR brought it because before there was no retirement. If you didn't have a private retirement, or if you didn't put money away, you had to go with your sons and daughters and whatever. Right now, as much as we hate to admit it, you know, we have done a lot to the left, and, you know, I don't want to say socialism, but, you know, Social Security is socialist venture, let's put it this way. We need to do things we need to do as far as healthcare. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't want to touch, and I'm going to bring, you know, it's a big Buddha book, and that's tort reform. I think they go hand in hand. You know, tort reform, that means if you get hurt for being treated by somebody, you're going to sue that person. And again, you know, you gotta balance that out a little bit. We need to provide. Right now, they talk about the public option. Folks, we got a public option in the county. It's called Jackson Memorial. We're all paying for the people without insurance. We're all paying for people without health care. Roger, you remember the days back in Miami Beach when we used to have 21,000 rescue calls a year before we opened the Stanley Magic Clinics. Okay, we opened, you know, it was a private-public partnership, city clinics, and the volume of rescue calls went down 50%. You know, when you were the city manager, we were going to have to start a new fire station with a new rescue unit. It was going to cost us $1.5 million a year. By providing these clinics, that was eliminated. So we need to we need to be proactive. We need to provide some type of health care, not at the end, but at the beginning, preventive health care. And I think some of the steps are there. I'll be honest with you, all know enough about the law in Washington to how to affect us, and I think very few people do. But I think it's the first step, and we need to do it.
I think everybody should have access to health care. They really should. But I think I go back to where I told you earlier, that they're not government mandated or subsidized. I think the government incentives for businesses to offer insurance. And that's as simple as that. Here's this concept. You got a small business. They're now going to be mandated to provide insurance. Well, let's give that little mom and pop some type of incentive to be able to provide it. You know, we're throwing money around left and right to all type of big industry, and that, I think, is where we want to spend our money. Let's go ahead and give that little mom and pop business an opportunity to have an incentive to be able to provide their employees some type of health care. It's as simple as that. And on another note, going back to Jackson, now that Louis brings that up, you know, we have a moral and a civic, I guess you'd call, responsibility to fund Jackson Memorial Hospital. But what's happening is that if we don't try to create incentives so that you can get insurance through a regular carrier, through a job, or if you're retired, provide some type of basic tax break for you to be able to have your own insurance, is Jackson, that's the problem with Jackson, is it's become the primary health care facility for all the uninsured here in Miami-Dade County. That's the problem. We sit with them all the time, and a lot of people, instead of even going to the primary doctor nowadays, if they even have, they have very little coverage, no coverage, are running off to Jackson Memorial Hospital. It's got to stop, and that's the reason why we have to continue to fund that particular hospital. It's really, really shame, but that's the reality.
There's a lot of discussion about whether the state should join in these lawsuits to overturn Obamacare. What do you think about that?
I'm definitely against it. I think that's just like the immigration law is a purview of the state, of the national, the federal government. specialty healthcare. And basically, I do believe that, you know, we're talking about mom and pop, you know, I'm going to reach a little bit. Basically, what this does, out of this legislation, is to provide small businesses to band together and be able to provide insurance as a big business. And that's the problem, you know. And the problem also with insurance companies is that insurance companies have a very strong lobby. And, you know, folks they're here to make money. Make no mistake about it. They're here to make money, and you know they got investors, and they pay dividends and whatever. They pay large salaries and large bonuses. So I mean, somebody's got to go for the little guy. Somebody's got to regulate that.
So you don't think the state should get involved in that litigation?
I think this is a national problem. I think the state should get involved.
I disagree. I'm in favor of doing that. I'm not in favor of supporting Obamacare is the way it is. I think that we need to take care of it internally, state of Florida, and take care of it in a very wholesome way. This year there was an attempt to put everyone into an HMO. You guys hear me back there? There was an attempt to create reform this year where they wanted to put everyone into an HMO. That would have been no choices whatsoever. I don't think that was the proper way to go about it, but I'm not in favor of it.
But Julio, you know, you and I, we fight this fight together, you know. The problem is the lobbying power of the health insurance company. It's huge, you know. I mean, we cannot get anything, you know. We have tried to amend some of the legislation. Just take a look, follow the money trail on the campaign, you know, different campaigns, see where the insurance money is going to. You know, some of the people that were creating the legislation to protect insurance companies were legislators. You know, we had the case of Dennis Ross in particular, Don Brown in particular. These people, they went back, and this goes back to the time before I was in the House, when they changed the laws for workers' comp to protect the insurance company. Well, Dennis Ross is the lawyer for Allstate or State Farm, and Don Brown is a big agent in the Panhandle. The Speaker Pro Tem of the House, Ronald Reagan, he is an executive with an insurance company. So basically, that's what happens, you know. Who is protecting us?
Okay, so let's move on to immigration. Do we need a state law similar to Arizona, or do we not?
I'm in favor of legal reform. Absolutely. Legal immigration is what we need to forward. I don't think we need to take it to the drastic point that Arizona has, because they have a whole different problem. Do we need legal immigration? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we're all in agreement on that. And we do have areas, believe it or not, we do have coasts. We have our coastal areas, and we do have a lot that happens to our coastal areas. So we want to be very clear that we want some type of legal reform. And when I say not to the image of what Arizona did, I think that's gone a little bit too far, and it really doesn't represent Florida. So I think that you'll see something happen. You're going to see something to create a process for people to go through a legal way of becoming a legal, resident, legal alien of this state, and it should be in place.
So is that a state program or a federal program?
It's not. It shouldn't even be a state. It should be done at the federal level, but unfortunately, it's going to end up on the hands of the state of Florida, because each one of these states, and we're interested to see what's going to happen with what the feds are going to do, but it's going to end up in the hands of Florida. Be watching. We're going to have several pieces of legislation that will come forward addressing it, and I think you're going to see some form of legal, like I said, type of legal process. You can
become an amnesty. Is that what you're talking about?
I couldn't tell you whether there'll be an amnesty or not. I'm not the one proposing legislation. We'll see what comes down the pipeline.
Basically, I'm deadly opposed to any type of what is from state law, state type of law. Again, that's federal government, purview. Do I think that we have a right to secure our borders? No doubt about it. I think every country should have a right to secure the border. Now, it's ridiculous to think that we're going to be able to send back between 12 and 15 million people. Can't be done. As a matter of fact, that gentleman right there that I'm looking at, I'm going to blow your cover right here. He wants to have the immigration in Washington for a long time. And maybe he should be addressing that question. Maybe you should be running for office. I'm going to recruit you for next. You know, I'm impossible for.
He sounds like the president. He brings somebody out of the audience.
Let me tell you what happens. Okay, what this law does. This law is nothing but profiling. Okay, you know, folks. My name is Garcia. My sons were born in this country. Okay, this law would give a law enforcement officer with a high school diploma, a little bit of training, the right to request your birth certificate or your passport. Okay. Do anybody here with an Anglo surname carry a birth certificate or a passport? No. You understand? You see where this is leading us? Basically, what a law like this is leading us to a national ID card that we're going to have to carry. And that's basically what's going to happen.
Let me piggyback on that.
Wait, I did not interrupt.
Let me finish.
Okay, so basically, this goes into a right. You know, do I think that we need to protect the border? Yes. Do I think that this needs to be solved? Yes, at the national level. You know, President Reagan did amnesty, he went halfway. He gave amnesty without solving the problem. You know, I got a plan if you want to hear it, I'll tell you.
Well, I think this is an important subject. Let's
Okay,
give it a couple more minutes.
I'll tell you.
Your plan.
I'll tell you, very simple, you know. Right now, if every undocumented alien goes in front of an authority and says, you know, I'm illegal, how are we going to move them out? You can't, okay? What's the alternative? Okay? Give a period of time where you can go out and register. You register. You check your background. If you haven't committed a crime, if you have committed a crime, you are excludable. To get you out of here. If you haven't committed a crime, and you have been a contributing member of society, we assess you a fine, a nominal fine for every year you have been here illegal. Okay? And then we give you a worker's permit. That worker's permit doesn't give you a right to be a resident or a citizen. That's merely a worker's permit. And you got to pay taxes and, you know, and contribute. 10 years down the road, you haven't broken the law. You have been a contributing citizen. You're going to start in the process of becoming a permanent resident. And then years after that, like any green card holder, you know, if you get a green card within 5 years, you can apply for your citizenship. Unless you fall under the human adjustment, which is only then 2 years, I believe. 1 year. So, you know, again, I'm a Cuban American. I was born in Cuba. I don't like to say I'm a Cuban American. I said that I am an American that was born in Cuba. I'm an American by choice because, you know, this is my country, and I will fight for it. I was given a right that some other groups haven't been given, and I don't think that's fair either. So we need to look for a solution that is fair, while at the same time we need to protect the borders. And again, they go hand in hand. Because you're going to give an amnesty, you're going to create direct programs, you're going to create any reform at all. It's like a link. Okay. You got to close the spigot before you can.
Let me jump back into it again. You got to have legal immigration, folks, whether you like it or not. There's no other country, there's no other place that you can go that us as Americans would take us in there the way that we do. Let's be very honest. And we have a responsibility to the people here. So we want legal immigration. I think me and Louis agree on that we want to process legal immigration. What I think his concerns are, believe it or not, they're a lot like what I'm saying, is that how far will that profiling issue go, and how far will the state of Florida law go in comparison to what Arizona did? Because you're asking us questions that, when we talk to law enforcement, I talk to the Florida Highway Patrol, I talk to the sheriffs, I talk to local police officers, and I ask them, you're the guys that are going to have to do this. What do you think about having to take that on as a responsibility? I think I have found one out of many that have said that they want to take on that responsibility, that they do not want to take on that, to be clear, because they're not immigration officers, they're law enforcement.